In this video, I'll be speedrunning combat initiation with modifiers on. In this game, you go through 40 waves of enemies to beat the game. I start off with getting the sword and slingshot for this run, and as soon as they appear in my hotbar, I'll reset to spawn on top of the elevator instead of waiting for it to rise. I'll then immediately use my secondary fire of the slingshot and then swap to the sword to hit the pellet. This will trigger a synergy called Slash of Ticks, or SLT for short. This hits the nearest enemy in my line of sight at the cost of the slingshot's ammo, allowing me to skip wave 1. Every time I have the opportunity to go to the next wave with SLT, I will be doing it. I know when to do it by looking at the bottom left. There, it shows the remaining enemies and my ammo. On wave 3, gunmen start to appear. They move slowly and shoot out green balls that can be parried, and because of this, I would be using SLT, which can also be aimed with, or parrying their bullets back. Most of this level will be clearing the melees by using the slingshot with quick melee, and then using SLT to clear the remaining enemies. I'm not going near the left corner of the map because enemies can get stuck behind walls when trying to pathfind, so I like to stick around spawn or near the castle. After wave 5, I will always reset to get my slingshot ammo back, and because I'm wearing a hat. Hats could be equipped before a run and they give various buffs. One of the hats I'm wearing is El Capone. It increases my cooldown reduction in damage up to 50%, but every time I take damage I lose 10%. The downside can be negated by resetting, which makes it go back to 50%. The shop also appears at the end of every 5 waves, and I'll be buying the bomb, which will be useful later. I will now ready up and stand right here to spam SLT to start the next wave. Notice that there were 15 enemies left and the next wave started. That's because the Relentless modifier makes the next wave start on 15 remaining enemies. On wave 7, these policemen called Bobbies start to appear. Bobbies have more health than noobs, so I want to kill them before I do SLT as they don't die in one hit. I can place the bomb and detonate it immediately with an SLT to deal with them. As I clear up the remaining gunmen, wave 9 finally starts. This wave is just noobs, which is a nice break for the next wave. After this wave, the boss wave starts, and since I have the modifier early arrival, the boss spawns with the wave, making it harder to kill the boss. Every boss has a setup to kill them quickly, which I will try to show in the run. Wave 10 is starting and I'm immediately trying to find the boss, Jason. I got lucky as Jason spawned close to me. I wait for Jason to attack so I can parry and then follow up with the SLT chain. Hitting the same pellet from SLT increases the damage, allowing me to kill Jason in a few seconds. From there, I clean up the rest of the enemies to beat the level. At the end of every level, I get the option to pick a gear. All these gears are showing up because of the last modifier I have, Seated Gears. This makes it so all the gears in the game are available for me to pick. I pick Epic Sauce, and when it's used, I get an increase in my damage, attack speed, and cooldown reduction. It also gives lifesteal, so I won't be able to die as long as I keep attacking, and since this is a speedrun, I should be doing that. Notice how I'm not using a live split timer, and that's because this game counts the time for you. The total time you spend in each level is what is officially used as your final time, and here, I get a respectable sub 3 minute on my first level. I'm going to continue on to the next level, and reset a little bit after my EXP appears. Starting the second level, I will dash out and then SLT spam here to get the stray enemies and turn around where most of the enemies are to start the next wave. 2 new enemies can now appear called Troopers and Blasters. Blasters are similar to gunmen, but they shoot 5 bullets instead. Troopers take more than 1 SLT to kill, so I will be prioritizing them. It's wave 15, and since I don't have enough ticks to buy anything in the shop, I'm going to ready up. Wave 16 introduces a new enemy, the Giant. Giants have a lot of health, but with the combination of Hot Sauce and El Capone, they die to a single bomb. I'm making sure not to linger around the mound on this map, or enemies can get stuck behind the rubble. I got good spawns, and all the Giants spawn near each other, but a noob got stuck behind the rubble. After beating wave 19, I prepared myself to defeat this level's boss, Captain. I set up the kill by pre-SLT chaining 2 pellets on it before Captain becomes vulnerable. I missed the final SLT, but I managed to kill it while taking a bunch of hits. I took so many hits that I couldn't kill a Giant in one hit, and since I took more time to kill the Captain and Giant, a Giant got stuck behind the rubble, losing roughly 16 seconds because of that one mistake. With the wave done, I get Witch's Brew and buy a rocket launcher. If you hit a bomb with a sword and then blow up the bomb with a rocket launcher, you get a nuclear reaction. What this does is it makes a giant explosion that kills basically everything in one hit. The problem is that there's a long cooldown for the rocket launcher, but drinking Witch's Brew accelerates the cooldown. For most of the game, I would be spamming nuclear reactions and my screen will be green from Witch's Brew. With that out of the way, I get to see my time of 335 and the ass rank. On the 3rd level, I want to stick around spawn as enemies tend to gather around the hills. There's also flying killbots that shoot rockets, but nuclear reactions take care of them. I will keep going back and forth around the hills doing reactions with the occasional SLT until wave 25. Here, a canyon spawns and they shoot explosions like a mortar. They're pretty annoying because they can spawn on top of glass houses and have a ton of health, so I have to go out of my way to kill them. I reset and replace my rocket launcher with a bazooka to reduce the cooldown of nuclear reactions. Starting wave 26, a canyon will appear and the next wave won't start unless it is destroyed. Since canyons have a death animation before they are considered dead, I target it immediately. I don't know why, but this is the only wave with the kill requirement. With the canyon destroyed, wave 27 introduces snipers called marks. Marks will lock onto a player which is indicated with a red line. When it turns yellow, they can be parried with the secondary fire of the slingshot, so I don't have to go out of my way to kill them. The rest of the waves consists of going out of my way to kill the canyons and then going to each hill to do nuclear reactions with the occasional parry to marks until wave 30. Now that it's wave 30, I reset and make my way towards the spawn of this level's boss, Vagabond. I do this by doing a super reaction off the ground. I then set myself up to stun the boss with the parry and then into an SLT chain while drinking Witch's Brew. As the SLT despawns, I follow up with a nuclear reaction. The skill of the boss on my screen is distorted due to how much Witch's Brew I use for that setup. I then spend 28 seconds trying to find the last remaining enemy to finish up the level. In this shop, I upgrade my bomb to Explosive Pinata, which will be useful later. For the gear, I get Red Strato Bloxer, which increases my damage based on my style. This will be useful for killing bulkier enemies on the last level in one nuclear reaction. With that out of the way, I get to see the time of 4:53, which isn't too great. I'm now on Rocket Arena. This is the last and smallest map in the game, so this level will actually go by faster than glass houses. After resetting, I try clearing a side and then go in the middle to clear the rest of the enemies. I repeat this until wave 33 when beacons start spawning. Beacons can make enemies invincible, so I target them first before going back in the middle. There's also firemen that run towards me with a flamethrower, but they still die in one nuclear reaction. I basically repeat destroying beacons and then going back in the middle until wave 35. It's now wave 35, and instead of it being normal enemies, it actually spawns a boss, King. To set up the kill, I hit the pinata, which gives it charges and increases the amount of explosions on detonation. As soon as King is vulnerable, I will shoot the pinata with a bazooka to trigger a super reaction. This does all of King's health, and I clean up the rest of the enemies to finish up the wave. The shop appears again, but I don't actually want to buy anything. The upgrades for our tools are sad grades that I don't want, so I will just start the next wave. I repeat what I've been doing since the start of this level until the next boss. On wave 38, wizards appear. They aren't too big of a deal as they die in one nuclear reaction and teleport to me. It doesn't change what I've been doing this entire time, so I'll cut to wave 40. Wave 40 spawns the final boss of this act, the Great Draco Bloxer. It's invincible as it spawns, but there will still be enemies as the early arrival modifier is on. While it's invincible, I'll do nuclear reactions to get style for Shadow Bloxer, increasing my damage for the setup. Now that it's vulnerable, I like to stand on this corner to prepare myself to parry its sword. This does a lot of damage and launches me in the air. With the height gain, I then dash onto its head and pump damage by drinking all of my Witch's Brew while using the slingshot. It stuns it and knocks me off, but I can stall in the air by shooting downwards with a slingshot. I finish it off with the combination of quick melee and the slingshot. The level doesn't actually end until the death animation ends, so in the meantime I clear the rest of the enemies. The death animation of the boss is so long, I can clear the wave before it can fully die. Now that it's dead, I can see how I did. I got a 4:10 for Rocket Arena and a 15:34 total time. That puts me 4th on the leaderboard as of this recording. Thanks for watching and subscribe if you want to see more content like this.